Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, the independent panel looking into the theft that took place at President Cyril Ramaphosa's Phala Phala game farm officially handed over its findings today. The Section 89 panel, led by retired Chief Justice Sandile Ngcobo, was tasked with determining whether there was a case for impeachment of the president. Now, to discuss this further, we are joined by ATM President Vuyolwethu Zungula. Thank you very much, Mr. Zungula, for your time. Of course, the ATM is a very important partner, besides the fact that, of course, all South Africans are important stakeholders. But the ATM is the party that actually wanted, an inquiry, an ad hoc committee to be established by Parliament, and for the president to answer to the fact that, or to allegations that he went against his executive ethics code. So I just want to know from you, finally, after a couple of months or a couple of weeks and an extension, how do you feel about what happened today in Cape Town?
Look, what is important is that the president must account. Everyone that is in the executive, the members of cabinet, have got a responsibility of accounting. And it is Parliament's responsibility to make sure that we come up with the necessary mechanism to hold them accountable. Anyone who holds public office must be made to account on the decisions and the actions they take. Therefore, on this particular issue, it is something that is unheard of, whereby there is millions of foreign currency that has been found in a head of state undeclared. The Reserve Bank does not know about them, and life is expected to continue as per normal. So it is in those reasons why, as the ATM, we felt that let all respective institutions, from your public protector, your Hawks, IPID, investigate this issue so that, number one, we can send a strong message that no one should be above them. The fact that a person occupies political power must not make that person exempt from being held accountable. Secondly, we must send a strong message that whoever wants to be president, they must know that they will not just get away with breaking of the law. So for us, what transpired today is a step in the right direction. We are going to study the report tonight and make a full determination thereafter.
And, talking about the fact that it goes out to the public and not just MPs tonight, and of course you're going to be debating it on the 6th of December, are you prepared to accept any findings if, for instance, it goes in the president's favor? Will you accept that?
Obviously, we are going to study the report, and after studying the report, we are going to make determination. If what the law requires and the explanations from the report clearly absolve the president, we are going to get even guidance from our legal representatives and make a determination. However, based on the evidence that we submitted, where the Section 96(2) of the Constitution prohibits paid work, whereas the president, in his own words, has admitted paid work. So it will take something out of the ordinary for us to be convinced that, number one, the president was not engaged in paid work, which violates Section 96(2)(a). Secondly, the president did not give an unlawful instruction and put himself in a risk of a conflict of interest. So for us, it's just a matter of studying the report and taking it from there.
Now, over 5 million rand was actually, the invoice, to the public purse for this panel to be established and this investigation to go ahead. And of course, South Africans want to know what happened. But now, we find that the findings and the recommendations by this panel would not be binding. How do you feel about that?
Look, that is the nature of how this panel is set out. It issues a report. Then the report has to be considered by members of Parliament. It is Parliament on the 6th that will make a binding resolution on what should happen. Therefore, for us, it's not a matter of its wasteful expenditure, because that is how the rules of Parliament have been set up in terms of the Section 89 process.
Okay, so former Chief Justice Sandile Ngcobo mentioning in one of his questions that the ATM, UDM and EFF were the ones who gave them the information that we'd see possibly in Volume 3 of the actual report with all the documents they said they attached for South Africans to see how they got to their findings. But there's also been some comments, you know, I'm just hoping that you'd be able to comment on that. A very vocal chairperson of the ANC, Mr. Gwede Mantashe, who's also a member of Parliament, coming out to the media during the course of this week saying, you know, the president's Phala Phala scandal is not as big as other ANC members' scandals because with him it wasn't money that came from the public purse. What's your reaction to that?
Latata, look, if a person is engaged in a business activity and does not pay tax, that person is effectively stolen from the public purse. So if the Reserve Bank did not know about that foreign currency, meaning SARS could not have known as well, meaning taxes have not been paid over to the state. Now, it can't be a person who's saying all of the other violations of the law are not as important because it is not state money, because we can't confine everything that is wrong in our country to corruption. There is abuse of state power, there is unlawful instruction, you know, there's paid work, there's other multitude of wrongdoings that have happened in this Phala Phala scandal. Therefore, for that chairperson of the ANC to say this is, you know, it's not something big because it does not deal with this issue of corruption, it only means he's only protecting himself. You remember that he himself has been fingered by the Zondo Commission and the president has not fired him, whereas he's expecting all other law enforcement agencies to deal with anyone that has been you know, found to be on the wrong side of that particular report. Therefore, he's only protecting himself by making it as if the other violations to the Constitution are not as important because it's not corruption.
And, you know, I just also want to know, Mr. Zungula, in terms of us hearing from different political parties and ordinary South Africans as well, you know, questioning the ability of this panel led by the former Chief Justice Sandile Ngcobo, saying that they don't believe that the panel would be fair, etc. Did you find yourself also asking yourself those questions about this particular panel, you know, their independence and if it's true?
We've got no reason to believe that they would be biased against or for the president. What we are hoping for basically is a report. It is a report that will confirm what other people's fears has been. So let us just wait for tonight to read the report, and based on the contents of the report, then people will be free to make whatever perception they have on them as individuals.
As the ATM, as they were investigating and getting in contact with the party to get more information from you, documents, etc., were you happy with their conduct as they were investigating and speaking to you?
What the panel did is that they issued a timeline where they're saying within these particular dates, all members of parliament would wish to add supplementary information or evidence. They are free to do so. So what we did as the ATM was to prepare that supplementary information and then submit it. Otherwise, there was no engagement between us and them or between them and any other person. That is why the former Chief Justice spoke about they could not have interviewed anyone because that is not within the rules of how that independent panel ought to operate.